Welcome to LoadMaster. Today we will learn how to load cargoes with sequential order. When goods are mixed, sometimes it should be specified that which goods are loaded first and which goods are loaded later. Now let's have a case study. Here is the cargo data. The load orientation is only the head is vertical to the ground. The loading sequence is C first, then A, and finally B. Calculate how many containers will be used for this batch of goods and what type of container is more suitable for loading. According to the loading requirements, the test type loading container multiple cargoes should be selected and entered in. Now we come to the basic information interface. The item in this page is optional, and the users can fill in the PO number, order number, etc. for later check. Now let's come to next stage, Add Cargo. We click Add Cargo and then get Excel template. In this corner is a download template. Now we open it. First we should click Enable Editing. Here is the template description. You should read it carefully before filling this template, and then it can be deleted or removed. Now we first save this template to a certain position in your computer for later finding. Now let's start to fill in this template. Copy the name, quantity, length, width, and height of the cargo to this template. Pay attention to the matching of the set unit. Here the weight refers to the gross weight of single carton or box of goods. If the cargo is too light, the weight can be ignored and not filled in, and the system will default to 1. Then define the load orientations of the goods. For it is required that cargoes can only be placed at the head is vertical to the ground. That is, only stand and stand rotate are allowed. You should fill in 0 under the allow column of other and allowed orientations. 0 means not allow such load orientation, leave it blank or fill in. 1 means allow such orientation. For the cargoes have their own certain loading order, C first, then I, and finally B. It is necessary to set the loading sequence of the goods. The loading sequence is a relative value. The larger the value, the earlier the goods are loaded. Therefore, the loading sequence of A, B, C can be assigned to 2, 1, and 3, respectively. For there are no other requirements, we do not need to set other parameters, leave them as a default value. The specific details of each parameter can be found in the guidance documentation. You can click here to get the documentation. Now save this template and close it. Back to the cargo interface, click Add Cargo and then Import from Excel. Find the filled-in template in this dialog box. Double-click it. Then the cargo information will be imported to the task. Let's come to the next stage, Add Container. In this case, the type and the quantity of container that should be used are not clear. Therefore, we can add the commonly used container types so that the system can select the most appropriate container from them. For the commonly used container information is already maintained in the database, click Import from Database. Check 40 head cube and 40 GP, 20 GP, and then click Add. Add the corner casting size and the reserve size of the container. The size of the corner castings is 10 multiply 10 multiply 10 centimeters. Precautions for defining the reserve size, please refer to the guidance documentation or other videos. Next, set the loading rules. After setting the loading sequence, you should pay attention to the setting of the class types. Generally, the greater the cross depth value, the higher the loading rate. Now explain the cross depth through a picture. The different colors in the picture represent different products. As you can see in the picture on the left, after installing a product, even if there is idle space above and on the right, the next product will not be loaded here. The reason is that the cross depth is set to 0, and the corresponding loading rate is 88%. In the picture on the right, there is partial mix and match between the two adjacent products. The reason is that cross depth is set to 1 meter, and at this time the loading rate is increased to 92.46%. That is the importance of setting the crossing depth. The default value of the cross depth in the system is 2 meters. First, we generate plan at the default value. Click Optimize About to get the loading plan. In the container list on the left, you can see that this batch of goods can be loaded by using 140 JP, and the volume usage rate is 84.21%. Through the three-dimensional scheme diagram, it can be seen that the loading sequence is first cargo C, then cargo A, and finally cargo B, which meets the loading requirements. Next, we back to the loading rates page and set the cross depth to 0. Optimize again. It can be seen from the three-dimensional diagram that although the goods are loaded in the required order, but there is an idle space at the junction of adjacent goods without mixing and matching. Therefore, 140 GP can be enough to install and 140 head cube is needed. So when setting the loading sequence parameter, you must pay attention to the setting of the cross depth. After the scheme audit is completed, you can click Share Test to get the on-site loading by mobile platforms, and click Generate Loading Report to download the tables you need to make the packing list and custom declaration. More details, please refer to the guidance book. Thanks for watching. See you next time.